Hi there, Miranda Alt here with Keller Williams Success Real Estate and the Miranda Alt team with your Monday market update for Monday, May 1st, 2023. Happy May Day. And as per normal Midwest behavior on May Day, we have a cold, snowy day, of course. It's very depressing, but we're trying to muscle through. We are still, believe it or not, in the spring market for our housing. So let's take a quick look at our McHenry County statistics for the last 7 days. We had 135 new listings. We had 155 go under contract, 115 closed sales, 13 price changes, and we currently have 64 on the private network. Now, I found my notes from last year. This week, last year in 2022, we had 188 new listings. That's about 50 more. So that's almost like 25, 35% more new listings this week last year than we had this week, this year. We had 188 go under contract. It's about 30 more than we had this past week. We had 153 closed sales this week last year. So about 50 more closed sales, actually about 40 more closed sales than we had this time. That's like 50% difference. That's huge. We had 29 price changes this week last year. Part of that's just probably due to the number of homes we had listed. This week we only had 13, and we had 60 on the private network last year. We have 64 right now. So we actually have more on the private network right now than we did on the private network this time last year. So it's the same thing we've been seeing for the last 2 years. We don't have enough inventory to meet the demand. What I hear a lot of people saying is there's nothing to buy. That actually is not true. I had 2 buyers go under contract this past week. I had 4 closings this last week. So I had 3 buyers who are very, very happy that they are under contract and they're in their new home. And I have 1 very happy seller who moved to Florida. So this dialogue that we're telling ourselves that there's nothing to buy is not accurate, and we need to stop saying it. Because the reality is just that our market is moving very rapidly and we have a lot of buyers out in the market. So my answer to that would be, if you are a serious buyer, and I just had this conversation with a new buyer that I'm working with, and I had that conversation today because they had a different agent that they were working with and they were feeling very discouraged. They said, there's nothing on the market, and our agent says there's nothing on the market. And I said, well, that's not really true. There is stuff on the market. You just have to be ready to go. You have to be aggressive about it. You have to be looking on the private network. You have to be calling the other agents. You have to be actively searching. And when something comes up, you have to be ready to go. You have to be ready with your pre-approval. You have to know exactly what your payment is going to be at different price points. You have to be educated. You have to be aware. You have to know how to navigate the market also with different variables. They said, well, what does this as is mean? As is just means you're not going to be asking the seller to fix every GFCI outlet that needs to be repaired. You're not going to be asking them to fix wiggly toilets and doorknobs. That's what as is means. It doesn't mean you're going to do an inspection, find out that the house is falling down, and you still have to buy it. That is not what as is means. So you have to be really clear on what the terms are, what is it we're dealing with in our market, and then be ready to go. If you have those things in mind, I guarantee if you are looking for a home, you will find a home. There are beautiful homes hitting the market every day. You just have to be diligent. I was talking to another client today who we have his house listed on the private network, and he said, gosh, I just don't want to let people see my house yet because I'm just afraid I'm not going to find anything. And I said, we will find you something. There are more homes. There were 135 homes listed in the last 7 days. You think there's not one home that's going to meet your criteria? Or over the next few weeks, you think there won't be one? There might only be one, and you better be ready to go, and you better be aggressive about it, and you better be the most qualified buyer. But it doesn't mean that there's not going to be anything hitting the market. So we really have to change the way we're talking about the real estate market right now. There are homes hitting the market. They're just moving very, very rapidly. And we do have fewer homes for sale. That is for sure. We will sell less homes in 2023 than we sold in 2022. But in 2022, we sold less homes than we sold in 2021. And in 2021, we sold more homes than we had ever sold before. So it's gonna be okay. That's what you have to remember. Now let's take a look at interest rates. Interest rates right now, according to Freddie Mac, are on average, the 30-year fixed rate is about 6.43%. Now, this week last year, rates were about 5.41. So they're about 1 full percentage more, which is affecting affordability, which is bringing prices down. I will say that the average sales price is down from this week last year to 367,000 right now is the current average sales price. This week last year it was 379,000. So 379 to 367. So we are seeing prices come down. Largely that's due to the fact that interest rates are higher. And so sellers are understanding that their buyers, their buying power has been diminished slightly. So they have to be a little bit more reasonable with the price that they're asking, because buyers, their money, it just isn't going as far as it was before. The median sales price is still higher by $10,000 though, now at $310,000 versus $300,000 this week last year. Rental prices, now here's something that's consistent. Do you know the most consistent number throughout all of history in terms of housing to consistently go up, whether we're in a recession, whether we're in a boom, whatever it is, rental prices always go up. That is very reliable data. It's bad for you if you're a renter. It's good for you if you're an investor. I'm working with a lot of investors right now who want to build their wealth. They want to build their long-term portfolio, and they know the number one way to do that in this country is by buying real estate. So rental prices are still up. The average is now $2,300 a month. A month. So everyone's paying a mortgage. It's just whether or not you're paying your mortgage or somebody else's mortgage. That's what you have to ask yourself if you are a renter. Do you want to keep paying somebody else's mortgage? Because that's what you're doing. So the average rental price is $2,300. Last year it was $2,100. So it's up on average $200 a month. That's $2,400 a year extra that renters are paying, and they're paying down somebody else's mortgage. So think about that and put that in your pipe and smoke it, as my dad used to say. Americans have less savings right now than they did pre-pandemic. They have less than 5% personal savings rate. It was almost 10% before the pandemic, and they have more credit card debt on average. So that is also affecting affordability, and that's part of the reason why less people are buying. Is if you have a huge debt to income ratio, you're not going to be able to buy a home if you have too much debt. So you might want to think about paying down your debt. But we also have here's some other things that we were looking at. The nationwide we have around $940 billion in debt, paying 20% on your credit cards right now. So that's a huge amount of debt. If you are a homeowner, you might want to think about doing a refinance and taking out some of your equity and using your equity on your home. Take out a second mortgage and pay down some of those big debts that you have that are at 11% or 20%. If you have a credit card bill that you're paying 20% on, you might want to use some of your equity. Most homeowners right now, on average, people have about 58% equity in their homes. You might want to use that to pay down your credit card debt or your car payment. The average car payment right now in this country is $800 a month. That has doubled in the last 3 years. So we're likely, going to be seeing another rate hike on from the feds this week. That's going to impact a lot of that stuff too. So if you own a home, you might want to think about taking out some of your equity to pay off some of that debt that's at that higher percentage rate. Even though we're still at 6.4%, it might be a good time to use some of that equity to pay down your debt. We've got a lot of factors affecting the housing market right now. Affordability is a problem for some people, and inventory is a challenge. I'm not going to say it's not a challenge. It is, but it's not impossible. So a lot of people out there saying there's nothing to buy. I really want to challenge you on that. There is stuff to buy. Oh, and a sidebar on that, those 64 homes that are on the private network might be where some of those homes that you want to see are hiding. I was talking to a client today that says he can't find anything. Well, we're going to see 3 properties on Wednesday night. They're all on the private network. They're not listed. That's why they're not seeing them. Their other agent wasn't checking the private network. I am. So make sure that if you are in the market right now, that you are working with a qualified professional. Now, if you are not in the Midwest, you're not in my region, but you want to use somebody like me, give me a call. I've got agents all around the country who I work with who work just as hard as I do. They're just as knowledgeable, and they are wonderful, and I can hook you up with some good people in different areas of the country. So keep that in mind as well. I'm Miranda Alt with Keller Williams Success Real Estate and the Miranda Alt team. Thanks so much for watching. Hope you are enjoying your Monday. Hopefully it's prettier out your window than it is out mine. But by Wednesday, we should be looking up. Have a great day, guys. Bye.